Okay, so this is a game I'm working on. I don't really have a name for it yet, but essentially the idea is you have a little money counter, right? And your goal is to place things like walls. These green things are things you can grapple onto with a grappling hook. And your goal is to get from the start to the checkpoints to the finish. Right here I have the start being green, the checkpoint being orange, and the finish, of course, being like a checkerboard pattern. And so I can press play right here and I go into play mode. It's like a 3D platformer, hardcore game. And see, I can grapple onto that at the checkpoint, and then I can fail that jump miserably and go to the finish. Right now I don't have score working. As you can see, it says score 0. But I've got a lot of stuff working. These kind of red areas, those are barriers. So the idea is that you won't be able to place things inside of those. But right now, not really working great. So yeah, I'll try to fix that. Recently, what I've been doing is doing a lot of like minor things, making the game feel better. Like before, if you were to try to grab this, instead of just staying where it is, because your mouse is above it, when you grab it, it would move upwards about that much, and then you would be grabbing it, right? But now it stays in place until you move your mouse, which is good, obviously. And these mountains are new, because what I had before was, the reason I added these mountains was because the sky was different. This is how the sky looked before, right? And if I go below the grass, right, it was all white below here, right, below the horizon. And that looked fine, but I changed the colors by essentially messing with these values, and that makes the sky more vibrant, more saturated. But that has a side effect of making the bottom of the world this kind of blue color, which, if I delete this, looks kind of ugly, right? And obviously this is a placeholder, you know, it doesn't look great either, but I think it looks better than the blank sky. And I've also been working on some other stuff like footsteps. So when you go on different surfaces, as you can hear, you make different footsteps. So on the grass, you make grass footsteps. On the concrete, you make concrete footsteps. And yeah. There's also some camera tilt, but I'm going to be adding settings for that kind of stuff soon. Like, I already have graphic settings. If I press G, this is temporary, obviously. All of my menus look terrible because I suck at making menus. And there's a bug where opening the graphics menu changes the graphics for some reason. But if you just open the game again, that goes away, which is odd. I'll try to fix that too. But yeah, you can see when I slide, my camera kind of gets tilted back, so it like gets pushed up. That's not me moving the camera. That's a computer. And same thing happens when you grapple. Your camera gets tilted in the direction that you're grappling. And the opposite happens when you run. Your camera gets tilted down. So I'm not pressing anything there. It's only slight, and you will be able to turn that off, but I like it. All of the models, or almost all the models, not like the tree up there, but all like these buildings and stuff, those were all modeled by me. But I'm not very good at making textures. I've never done that before. So what I did is I used Quixel Megascans, which are free. They're like super high resolution textures of like photos, basically, of buildings and stuff, of like materials. Like these bricks came from there, and then I just turned down the resolution and I blurred the image slightly to make them look kind of cartoony. So as long as you don't get too close up, it looks good, you know. And these red bricks are the exact same thing. They've just been squished to be more rectangular instead of square-ish. And these doors are probably the most obvious example. I'll probably get an actual material for this sometime, but for now it's just a plywood material. And the only thing I kind of did myself were these windows. The material is actually also taken. I didn't make that. It's a sand material. It's like a bump map. And then I just use some math to figure out which parts of the object are closest to like another object. So in this case, the window frame. And then I turn up the strength of that to make it look like, I don't know, frost or something to give it more, at least depth. And I do that for the glowing windows too. And only a random amount of windows are selected to be glowing. Not all of them are. I've also got the money working, so when you buy things, your money goes down, right? And you can, select multiple things. You can rotate them all at once, move them all at once. Toggle scaffolding for them, make them grappleable. And if you can even do stuff where like if one's grappleable and one's not, it still works, right? And when you delete them, your money comes back. And if I just spam a bunch of these, you can see when I don't have enough money to afford one of them, my money just goes into the negatives. And that's so that you can still beat a level, even if you're not, good enough to do it within the allotted amount of money. But your score won't be able to appear on the scoreboards if I ever add those, like leaderboards. And then I can, of course, delete all of these, and my money comes back.